Hi everybody, it's Jennifer J. Welcome back to Moving Forward. I'm so glad you're joining me again today. We are still talking about the fruit of the Spirit, and today we are talking on kindness. So you will find some verses. The fruit of the Spirit itself is talked about in Galatians 5:22, and then we're going to be in Luke chapter 6. There's a few in John and Romans and Luke, but mostly those are the ones you'll need is Galatians 5:22 and then Luke 6:31 through 35. So Terry Mackey was doing the sermon today at my home church, which I love, and he's still doing the sermon series about the fruit of the Spirit, right? And so we talked about that last time. If you need to catch up, you might hit pause on this one, go back and look at last week's, and you'll see about that. But he said you have to have the fruit of the Spirit in order to have the other one. Let me explain that. Didn't say that very well at all. But God is love, right? And the first flavor of the fruit of the Spirit is love. God is love. And we don't get the joy if we don't have the love, right? We have to ask God to be our personal Savior, and then we get the joy of the Lord, the joy of our salvation, and the peace that passes all understanding. And peace is one of those flavors of fruit. And patience, or forbearance, or long suffering, which is what we talked about last week. And so he was talking about how long suffering is passive. It's showing restraint, right? It's being patient with people. You have to have restraint. But kindness, you have to have the patience in order to show the kindness. Kindness is active. He said it was the opposite of patience, which I thought was interesting. I had never heard it put that way or thought about it that way. But it's the opposite because it's active. It's actually doing a kindness for someone, right? Being kind to someone is active. And he used the golden rule in Luke chapter 6, verse 31. And if you know the golden rule, it's treat other people the way you want to be treated, right? And a lot of people mix that up and think they're supposed to treat people the way they get treated. And I know in the worldview today on social media and all that, people are so mean. And a lot of times it's church people that call themselves Christians, people that wear the name of God, that are supposed to be ambassadors for Christ, are some of the meanest people on social media. And we need to be careful. If you call yourself a Christian, if you call yourself a follower of Christ, people are watching you and you are representing Christ, and you need to be careful. So we need to be kind. We need to be kind with our words, even when other people aren't. Because the golden rule is be kind, treat people the way you want to be treated. So most of us don't want to be cussed out. Most of us don't want to be called stupid or blind. All the things we're seeing on social media right now about politics, at least in America. We don't want to be called names, right? We have a difference of opinion. It doesn't make me stupid. Doesn't make me ignorant. It doesn't make you stupid or ignorant. It just makes us different. We have different opinions. So we need to be careful to be kind because we are representing God. And in Luke 6:35, it says, bless those who curse you. Be kind to your enemies. Pray for your enemies. So we don't have to like that person has an opinion different than ours. Or we don't have to like that somebody cut us off in traffic. We don't have to like that somebody was mean to us at the grocery store or whatever the situation is. But we do need to treat them the way we want to be treated. So we can't retaliate that, right? We have to have patience, show restraint. We might want to pop off at them, but we can't. And then we need to be active and show kindness. So go a step further. Don't just hold restraint for how you would like to respond. Take it a step further and respond differently than you might like to respond. So that's important. And he said, look at Christ to see what kindness looks like. He laid down his life for us while we were sinners. We weren't worthy of what he was showing us, but that love he showed us, putting that nail in his hand and the nail in his feet and the sword in his side. I mean, and the worst part, that wasn't even the worst part, right? The worst part was he He took all of our sin on himself, and God had to look away. God the Father had to look away because sin separates you from God. So all he's ever known since eternity, all he's ever known is oneness with the Father. And he loved us so much, he took our sin, knowing he was going to have to be separated for that moment of time from the Father. And he did it anyway. He did it anyway. And so for me, it's not even the physical pain had to be excruciating. But going into that, knowing that he was going to have to be separated, that to me would have to be terrifying. But he did it because he loves us. So we need to look at how he treated us. Look at what he did for us. Look at the kindness and the favor that he showed to us. And, in John 3:16, it says, whosoever will may come. So I'm a whosoever. You're a whosoever. Whosoever calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. So he already paid the price. He already did it. All you have to do is accept it and say, thank you, God. Thank you, Jesus, for doing that for me. And yes, I want you to be the boss of my life. And then you too will have these fruit of the Spirit that you can work on honing. Because in Romans 5:8, it does say, while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. While we were in our sin, he still did it for us. So in John 15, it says, no greater love than this. No greater love. Oh gosh, I'm going to have to look that up. It says than to lay down his life for a friend. I couldn't spit it out. But yeah, there's no greater love than laying down your life for a friend. So he said, we don't need to keep score. This was a really good point too, you guys, because a lot of people do this, but we don't need to keep score. So somebody wronged us, we show them kindness, we move on, don't keep score. They might have wronged us 10 times. Keep being kind. We don't have to be taken advantage of, or like we can say no if somebody's asking to borrow money for the umpteenth time that they're never going to pay back, and maybe we don't really have it to give. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. We can teach them or help them find a job or whatever it is, the reason that they're always needing to borrow money. But what it doesn't say be a doormat, but it says keep on being kind and don't expect anything in return, and don't keep score, because God keeps score. He doesn't need us to keep score. He knows the score. He knows they wronged you. He knows they stabbed you in the back. They're talking about you, spreading a bad report, whatever it is. But we don't need to keep that score. We can just show kindness, still help that person if that person needs help and we are able to help, and let God keep the score. Because it says kindness will cost you something, and not being kind will also cost you something. So in Luke 10, it says, well, Pastor said the lawyer said, and when I read it in the King James Version, it said a man very knowledgeable about the law or something like that. So I'd never heard him called a lawyer before, but perhaps he was a lawyer. Said, what must I do? And this is when Jesus told him the story about the Good Samaritan, right? So there's a guy on the side of the road. He's been beaten by thieves. They've beat him up, left him for dead, took all his belongings, and a priest comes by and sees him and moves to the other side of the road and doesn't help him. And then a Levite comes by and sees him and moves to the other side of the road and keeps going, doesn't help him. Now there were laws about cleanliness back then, and maybe it was the Sabbath, and maybe they couldn't help him because then they wouldn't be clean, unceremonially clean or whatever. But then a Samaritan comes by, and the Samaritan, if you remember from one of our earlier versions, episodes, they were interbred with Jews, and so they were hated. They were not full-blooded, and they were very much hated. And so, but a Samaritan comes by, And even though he is a hated person, even though people have been mean to him probably his whole life, he goes ahead and helps this guy. He puts him on his donkey, he takes him to the inn, he puts him up in a room, he bandages his wounds, and he gives money to the innkeeper and says, I'm going to be gone a few days. Here's the money for taking care of him. I'll be back. And so which one of them was really showed kindness? Which one of them was being like Christ? It wasn't the priest and it wasn't the Levite. But he said, you know, we can sometimes miss church on our way to church. And he talked about here in Phoenix, I don't know what it's like where you guys are, but here, there are panhandlers on every corner. And I mean, like, if there's an intersection, there's 4. They're on every single corner of that intersection. And they're holding their cardboard sign and they're saying to help. And some people say, well, I'm not helping them because they probably have more money than I do. You know, I saw this story on 2020 or on one of those magazine shows that says that, you know, they're just scam artists. They've really got a BMW parked around the corner or whatever in a big old house, and they're just lazy and they're just standing out here taking people's money. And you know, that might have been true of somebody, and it might be true of some people. Some people might really do that. I would bet that by and large, the people that are out there really need the help. There might be some that don't, but ours isn't to judge that, right? We're supposed to be the church. So if we have $1 to give, I don't carry cash, you guys, I just don't. But if we have cash that we can give, I have stopped and bought food before and just given them food. But the point is we're supposed to do something. We're not supposed to ignore them. It's also very nice to just make eye contact, smile, wave, say hello. Sometimes when I am at the stoplight, if I'm the first person, I'll roll down my window and tell them to have a nice day. Those kind of things, that's just kindness. You guys, you don't have to have $1 to be kind. So that's just kindness. But he was saying how sometimes we can miss church on the way to church because we're supposed to be the church, right? We're supposed to be like Jesus. We're supposed to be kind. And so we need to be looking for those opportunities where we can be kind. Sometimes, so when I lived in Kansas, it rains a lot more there than it does here, obviously. But I used to carry umbrellas in my car. And so whenever it would be raining and I would see someone walking, invariably, every time, and I would stop and give them an umbrella. And I may have told you guys this in one of my previous episodes. But that was kind of my thing in Kansas. I always had an umbrella to offer to someone. And people were so grateful if they're having to walk and they're in the rain and didn't have an umbrella. They're really grateful for that. I don't do that here, although people might appreciate it for the sun. I'd probably have to have a lot of umbrellas because it's really hot here. But my point is, there's things you can do. So wherever you live, whatever the thing might be, here I could carry an extra bottle of water. So now you can't leave bottles of water in your car here because it's so hot. The chemicals in the plastic actually, I don't know if they melt or what happens, but they change when they're left in a hot car. So you can't leave them in a hot car. But you could carry a cooler, so I could maybe invest in a little cooler for my car and carry a couple of waters, and I could at least give them water because people are dying, literally dying out on the street because of the heat. So that's something I'm just processing as I'm talking to you guys, going, you know, I still could be doing something, so I'll have to give that some thought. But I hope you'll do that too and give some thought to what can you do? What can you carry in your car? What can you take to work with you, or whatever it is? What's a thing that you could do that could become your thing? That, you know, you're gonna start passing out umbrellas when it rains. Just see who God puts in your path, or start handing out water bottles, or something else. Could be something completely else, something different. But think about it. Put it in the comments if you think of something, or if there's something you already do to be kind and show kindness to strangers. Put that in the comments too. I would love to hear from you and see what kind of ideas you have. Maybe it'll inspire me to do something else. But be kind. So that is our lesson for today. Be kind. You have to have patience to show kindness. So show restraint. Put that smile on your face, have the joy of the Lord. And if you don't know Him as your Lord and Savior, there's no fancy method to becoming saved. You just simply have a conversation with God and just say His name. Just say His name. He will come. And I hope that you've done that. And if you haven't and you have questions, feel free to comment. I'd be happy to answer them. And that is all for now. I will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.